Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a sweet and cheerful girl. Everyone adored her, but no one loved her more than her grandmother. To show her affection, grandmother sewed a beautiful red velvet hood for the girl. She loved it so much that she wore it every day, and soon everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One bright morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother packed a small basket with warm biscuits and a bottle of sweet red wine. "Take this to your grandmother, dear," she said. "She's not feeling well, and this will cheer her up. But remember, stay on the path, don't talk to strangers, and go straight to grandmother's house." Little Red Riding Hood nodded eagerly. "I promise, Mother." And with that, she skipped off into the forest, the red hood fluttering behind her. The path wound through towering trees, their leaves whispering in the breeze. Sunlight danced through the branches, creating golden patches on the mossy ground. But deep in the shadows, unseen eyes were watching. A large, sleek wolf stepped onto the path, his sharp eyes gleaming with mischief. "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf said smoothly, his voice like silk. "Good morning, sir," she replied, smiling politely. She had never seen a wolf before. He looked strong and mysterious, not at all frightening. "And where are you off to on this fine day?" he asked, tilting his head. "I'm bringing biscuits and wine to my grandmother. She's not feeling well," Little Red Riding Hood explained. "She lives just beyond those 3 big oak trees." The wolf's mouth curled into a sly grin. "How lovely," he said. But in his mind, he was already planning his feast. "First, I'll eat the old woman. Then, I'll have this tender little girl for dessert." "Such a beautiful day for picking flowers," he said, pointing to a meadow nearby. "Your grandmother would love a fresh bouquet, don't you think?" Little Red Riding Hood's eyes sparkled. "Oh, yes, she loves flowers." Without another thought, she left the path and wandered into the meadow, picking the prettiest blooms she could find. Meanwhile, the wolf raced through the forest, his powerful legs carrying him swiftly to grandmother's cottage. He knocked on the door and, disguising his voice, called out sweetly, "Grandmother, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you biscuits and wine." "Come in, dear," grandmother answered weakly. "I can't get up." The wolf licked his lips and stepped inside. With one mighty leap, he pounced onto the bed and swallowed grandmother whole. Then he rummaged through her wardrobe, put on her nightgown and cap, and crawled into bed, pulling the covers up to his chin. Now, all he had to do was wait. After gathering a beautiful bouquet, Little Red Riding Hood finally arrived at the cottage. She found the door slightly open. A strange feeling crept up her spine. "Grandmother?" she called softly. No answer. She stepped inside. The cottage felt different, darker, colder. Her grandmother's room was dimly lit, and in the bed lay a figure that seemed odd. "Grandmother, are you all right?" she asked hesitantly. A raspy voice replied, "Come closer, my dear." Little Red Riding Hood took a step forward. Something wasn't right. She frowned. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have. The better to hear you with, my child. And grandmother, what big eyes you have. The better to see you with, my dear. And grandmother, what big hands you have. The better to hug you with, sweet child." Little Red Riding Hood's heart pounded. She took another step back. "But grandmother, what a big mouth you have. The better to eat you with," the wolf roared, leaping from the bed. Little Red Riding Hood screamed, but before she could run, the wolf swallowed her whole. With a full belly, he let out a satisfied sigh, curled up, and drifted into a deep sleep. Just then, a passing hunter heard loud snoring from the cottage. "That's strange," he muttered. "That old woman never snored before." He stepped inside and gasped when he saw the wolf lying in grandmother's bed, his stomach round and bulging. "This villain again," the hunter whispered. He raised his rifle, but then he hesitated. "Wait, maybe grandmother is still inside." He grabbed his hunting knife and carefully sliced open the wolf's belly. Out tumbled Little Red Riding Hood, gasping for air. "Oh, it was so dark in there," she cried. Then Grandmother wriggled out, weak but alive. Little Red Riding Hood grabbed the hunter's hand. "We have to make sure the wolf never does this again." So the hunter filled the wolf's belly with heavy stones and sewed it shut. When the wolf finally woke up, he tried to leap out of bed, but the weight of the stones pulled him down. With a final groan, he collapsed, never to bother anyone again. Grandmother hugged Little Red Riding Hood tightly. The hunter smiled. "You're safe now." Little Red Riding Hood handed Grandmother the biscuits and wine. "You should eat, Grandmother. You need your strength." Grandmother laughed and took a sip of wine. "I feel better already." As for Little Red Riding Hood, she never forgot the lesson she learned that day. "I will always listen to my mother and never leave the forest path again." And so she skipped home, her red hood fluttering behind her, knowing she would always be a little wiser, a little braver, and a whole lot smarter.